Many eyes are focused on Florida this morning for this morning's launch of the space shuttle Endeavour. Congresswoman Gabrielle Giffords left her hospital rehab in Houston yesterday, returning to Florida for the rescheduled launch. As you know, her husband, Mark Kelly, is the mission's commander. Her chief of staff, Pia Carusone, joins us this morning from the Kennedy Space Center. Good to talk with you again this morning, Pia.
Good morning, Erica.
I understand you have a pretty precious piece of metal with you that Commander Kelly gave to you to give to Congresswoman Giffords. Tell us a little bit about that, if you would.
Oh, well, usually he takes her wedding ring to space, so he took it from her a couple days ago, but she wanted his. So yesterday when we were at the beach house, he gave her his ring, but his hands are a bit bigger than hers, so it didn't fit on her finger. So anyway, so he gave it to me to find a chain to give to her. So I did last night. It's in my pocket, and it'll be around her neck as soon as I see her here in a couple minutes.
One can sort of imagine her sitting there fingering it as she watches this launch happen. Who else will be there with her on hand as she watches this?
So she'll be watching with the other spouses, and with her will be her mom and a nurse, which is just with her in case something happens. We don't expect anything would, but and that's it. Very small group.
What about Scott Kelly?
I'm sorry, you're right. Scott will be there, and Mark's children will be up there for a few minutes during launch as well. Yep.
Give us an idea. So many people focused on this for a number of reasons, but there's such interest, of course, in the Congresswoman and her progress. This sounds like it would be a fairly daunting trip. She's now made it 2 times to go from Houston to Florida. How much medical staff does this trip require for her?
You know, very little. We traveled with 2 nurses, but only because one needs to sleep while the other's working. You know, she's very stable medically, so the trip is not challenging for her in that regard. And in fact, it's challenging from a rehab perspective. I mean, there's new terrain to move around on, new people to meet, new environments, and those are all things that the folks at Tier Memorial Hermann in Houston have told us is helpful for someone in her position. So while it's a break from the hospital and the routine that she normally undergoes every day, it's still rehab nonetheless.
She and her husband, of course, began planning for this a long time ago, long before that shooting in January. How did things change, though, with the run-up to this launch now, given the fact that she is in such serious rehab, and yet Commander Kelly, of course, has a very serious mission in front of him?
Yeah, I mean, it was obviously difficult. We didn't know what would happen after the shooting. You know, we weren't sure if Mark was going to be able to stay on the mission, and we certainly had no idea whether or not Gabby would be able to come down here to Florida to watch him take off. So, you know, we're really happy, obviously, that she's been able to progress to the point that she has to put her in a position to come here. So that's exciting. And you know, the last couple months have been certainly unique. He's been going to work every day at Johnson Space Center and preparing for the mission, and at night and in the morning seeing her. So nothing like a normal mission prep for him, although he's very focused on his work, as people know. So right. He's somehow managed to do both.
Real quickly, they had some time. You mentioned yesterday they have exchanged rings now. Can you give us an idea of what they said to one another before they parted ways for the launch?
You know, I can't. I wasn't there. So, I mean, they had a private moment. I was in their area, but I don't know what they said. You know, I think the astronauts and their spouses have, you know, have moments that are truly private before something like this. So, you know, he'll be back in 16 days, and you know, she's doing quite well, and you know, I know he's excited to see the progress that hopefully she'll have made in 2 weeks.
All right, great to have you with us this morning, Pia. Thanks so much.
Thanks, Erica.